The crown has been stolen in Aruokpe, and now, peace is gone. The streets are empty, but not quiet. Screams echo from every corner, and shadows move where no one dares to look. People ran for their lives, and chaos swept through the village like a wildfire. No door is safe. No home is secure. And in the heart of it all, the crown waits, heavy with secrets, and ready to claim whoever dares to touch it. Once upon a time, before the crown became feared, the town of Aruokpe was known for balance. It sat where two trade paths crossed, close enough to the river to drink from it, far enough to survive when it flooded. Farmers, traders, craftsmen, everyone had a place. There were disagreements, yes, but there was also order. At the center of that order was the crown. Not because it was beautiful, though it was, but because of what it represented. The crown of Aruokpe was old, heavy, and unremarkable to an outsider. No glowing jewels. No exaggerated gold. Just layered metal, worn smooth by time, shaped to fit a human head without crushing it. People said it reminded rulers that power must sit lightly, or it would crush them. For generations, kings ruled long lives. Some were wise. Some were flawed. But none died violently until the night everything changed. King Okoro did not suspect betrayal. He was old, yes, but not weak. His hands still steadied when he lifted a cup. His eyes still noticed small things, hesitation in a voice, fear in a bowed head. That evening, he ate quietly in his chambers while the town settled into sleep. Outside, the wind carried the smell of rain. Inside, his most trusted counselor, Namokwe, stood beside him. "You should rest, my king," Namokwe said. "Tomorrow's assembly will be long." King Okoro nodded and said, "The people have been restless." "They will come," Namokwe replied smoothly. "They always do." King Okoro studied him for a moment longer than usual. Namokwe met his gaze without flinching. That was the first mistake. The guards were dismissed early that night. It was unusual, but not suspicious. Namokwe had suggested it. "Let the men rest," he said. "Peace has ruled this town too long for danger now." Just before dawn, King Okoro rose from his bed to drink water. And just when he was about to reach the cup, a blow came from behind and he met himself on the floor. When his body was found hours later, the room was undisturbed. No struggle. No broken furniture. Only one thing was missing. The crown. News traveled fast, but belief traveled slowly. The people of Aruokpe gathered in silence. Not grief yet, but in confusion. Kings did not die like this, they wondered. When the elders announced the death, murmurs spread like a crack through glass. Then the truth fell like a stone, the crown was gone. Eyes turned immediately to Namokwe. He stood before them calm, dressed in mourning black. "I love the king," he said. "But the town cannot survive without leadership." Someone shouted, "Where is the crown?" Namokwe raised his chin. "I recovered it from the hands of traitors." No proof was given. No questions were allowed. That same day, Namokwe placed the crown on his head. The moment the crown touched him, something shifted. Not lightning, not thunder. Just unease. Those closest to the platform noticed it first. The crown sat slightly wrong, as if resisting him. Namokwe adjusted it, forcing it down. The crowd cheered, but not with joy. With relief. That night, the rain fell hard. By morning, King Namokwe was dead. Not peacefully. Violently. Thrown from the upper balcony of the palace, his body shattered on the stones below. The crown lay beside him. Untouched. No one claimed the crown for 3 days. The elders ordered prayers. The guards doubled watch. Mothers pulled children closer. On the 4th day, a nobleman named Ukil stepped forward. "We cannot live without a king," he said. Against better judgment, the crown was placed on Ukil's head. He ruled for 11 days. On the 12th, he was mistakenly poisoned at a public feast. The poisoned cup was meant for another, and the crown remained. Every king who wore the crown died violently. Some whispered of curses. Others spoke of fate. But the elders spoke of something else, power taken wrongly. One said quietly, always demands payment. No one listened. They were too afraid. Without stability, Aruokpe rotted from the inside. Thieves became bold. Disputes turned bloody. Old grudges resurfaced. Men who once greeted each other crossed the road instead. Food prices rose. Justice vanished. The crown sat locked away, yet its shadow ruled everything. On the eastern edge of the town lived a family rarely mentioned in councils. Not rich, not poor, but respected. The father, Ezedi, was known for fairness. The mother, Monarchy, for wisdom and restraint. And their son, Ikenna. Ikenna was not loud, not ambitious. He repaired tools, helped neighbors, spoke carefully. People trusted him without knowing why. When chaos grew louder, Ikenna stayed away from the palace. But the palace had already noticed him. One evening, elders arrived at Ezedi's home. Monarchy knew their intentions immediately. No, she whispered before anyone spoke. The elders cleared his throat and said, "The town needs your son." Ikenna stood frozen. His father closed his eyes. "We have buried too many kings," the elder continued. "We need someone who does not desire the crown." Monarchy turned to Ikenna, gripping his arm. "Do not go," she said. "This town devours its leaders." Ikenna was stunned. Outside, the town waited. That night, Ikenna did not sleep. The crown waited. So did death. And Aruokpe stood at the edge of collapse, unaware that the one person who could change its fate had never wanted power at all. For the first time in its history, Aruokpe had no king. Days passed. Then weeks. The palace gates remained closed. The crown stayed locked in a wooden chest, guarded by men who did not want to look at it for too long. Without a ruler, the town did not rest. It unraveled. Arguments once settled by elders turned violent. Old disputes, land, trade, family insults, returned with sharp teeth. Men who had lived as neighbors for decades now spoke through clenched jaws. Fear became law. And fear does not govern gently. One afternoon, a trader was accused of stealing grain. No proof was found. No witness stood forward. Still, the crowd demanded punishment. "He must be made an example," someone shouted. The elders tried to intervene, but their voices no longer carried weight. Authority had leaked out of the town like water through cracked clay. The trader was beaten badly. By nightfall, he was dead. The next morning, his family burned his stall and left Aruokpe forever. It was the first time a family fled the town. It would not be the last. Eventually, desperation overpowered fear. A warrior named Solomi stepped forward. He was strong, respected by soldiers, and believed violence could be controlled with more violence. "The crown kills weak men," he said publicly. "I am not weak." Some believed him. Others were too tired to argue. The elders warned him quietly, "Power taken in arrogance rarely ends well." Solomi laughed. When the crown touched his head, he stood tall, fist clenched. For 5 days, nothing happened. Hope flickered. On the 6th day, a riot broke out in the western quarter. Solomi personally went to calm it. He never returned. His body was found later that night, pierced by spears. His own soldiers claimed they mistook him for an enemy in the dark. The crown was recovered from the dirt beside him. From that day, the crown was no longer seen as authority. It was a death sentence. Men refused to sit near it. Guards rotated frequently. Some claimed they felt watch when they stood close to it. The elders debated endlessly. If no one rules, one said, the town will die. If someone rules, another replied, he will die first. Outside the council chamber, hunger crept in. Trade slowed. Neighboring towns avoided Aruokpe. Chaos feeds on isolation. Through all this, Ikenna lived quietly. He repaired farming tools, helped a neighbor rebuild a fence, walked his mother home from the market. But people had started noticing something. Whenever Ikenna mediated a dispute, even small ones, it ended peacefully. When two brothers fought over inheritance, Ikenna listened more than he spoke. They left shaking hands. When a trader accused a farmer falsely, Ikenna asked simple questions. The truth surfaced. Why do people listen to him? One elder asked quietly. Because he is not trying to win, another replied. Monarchy felt the change before it came. She noticed how people greeted Ikenna differently. How conversations stopped when he entered the room. One night, she sat beside her husband and spoke in a low voice. They are watching our son. Izedi nodded. I know. They will come again, she said. He said nothing. The silence between them was heavy. As Aruokpe weakened, a group of influential men formed what they called the Interim Council. They claimed the town needed leadership without a king. In reality, they fought each other constantly. Decisions contradicted one another. Punishments were uneven. Corruption flourished. Within a month, one council member was assassinated. Another fled the town. A third was publicly disgraced. The council collapsed in shame. And the crown remained untouched. People began whispering one name. Not loudly. Not confidently. Ikenna. He doesn't crave power. He listens. He's not violent. Others pushed back saying, he would die like the rest. A woman said quietly, at least he would die clean. That sentence spread faster than any speech. The elders returned to Ikenna's home. This time, they did not sit. They stood. The town is bleeding, the elders said. We are running out of time. Monarchy stepped forward. You want to kill my son? No, the elder replied softly. We want him to save us. Ikenna looked at his father. Izedi's voice cracked. But Aruokpe does not reward goodness. Ikenna finally spoke. What happens if I refuse? No one answered. Because everyone knew the truth. The town would eat itself alive. That night, Ikenna walked alone through Aruokpe. He saw broken doors, tired faces, angry children. When he passed the palace, he saw the guards looked away. Inside, the crown waited. He did not touch it. He only looked at it and said quietly, if I do this, you will not have your way. But the crown kept quiet. By morning, Aruokpe stood on the edge of a final decision. Either it would destroy another king, or be changed by one who did not want the throne. Ikenna returned home. His family waited. And the town held its breath. Chaos does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it walks in quietly, sits down, and refuses to leave. By the time Aruokpe realized it had lost control, it was already too late. The first sign was the market. A disagreement over grain prices turned into shouting. Shouting became shoving. Shoving became blades drawn in daylight. By sunset, 3 people lay dead on the ground where children once played. No one was arrested. No one dared to try. With no king and no respected council, fear began to rule openly. Groups of young men formed night patrols, not to protect the town, but to protect themselves. Each group trusted only its own members. They blocked roads, demanded payment, punished people without evidence. One night, a man was dragged from his house for disrespect. His wife screamed until her voice broke. No one came. The next morning, his body was found by the river. Aruokpe had crossed a line. Ikenna could no longer pretend nothing was happening. When two groups nearly clashed near the eastern farms, he stepped between them. "Stop," he said, not loudly, but firmly. A blade hovered inches from his chest. "Move," one man warned. Ikenna did not move. "You will spill blood today," he said calmly. "But it will not fix what you are afraid of." Something in his voice unsettled them. Slowly, the weapons lowered. The crowd dispersed in silence. That night, word spread, Ikenna stood where others ran. Not everyone admired Ikenna. Some feared him. Power built on chaos does not survive peace. A group of influential men, former council members, failed leaders, and violent organizers met in secret. "He calms them," one said. "If he becomes king, we lose everything and he will not let us have our way." Another replied, "Then he must never wear that crown." 2 days later, a rumor spread like fire saying, "The elders have chosen Ikenna in secret." It was false. But lies do not need truth to burn. Crowds gathered near the palace, angry and confused. Someone threw a stone. Then another. Suddenly, Aruokpe was screaming. Shops burned. Homes were looted. Men fought neighbors they once trusted. Through the smoke, Ikenna ran, pulling children to safety, dragging the injured away. A blow struck his head. He fell. Ikenna woke to darkness and pain. His mother's voice trembled nearby. "He is breathing," she whispered. Izedi stood silent, fist clenched. For 3 days, Ikenna drifted between sleep and waking. Outside, Aruokpe burned. People said later, the town nearly killed the one man who could save it. While Ikenna lay unconscious, the men who thrived on disorder made their move. They broke into the palace. Their plan was simple: seize the crown. Force one of their own to wear it. Rule through fear. But the guards resisted. Sword met sword. By dawn, the palace floor was stained with blood. The crown remained untouched, as if waiting. Exhausted and terrified, the elders gathered what authority they had left. "This town will not survive another week," one said. Another replied, "Then we need to act fast." They went to Ikenna's home not as messengers but as petitioners. They knelt begging. Monarchy wept openly. "They will kill you," she said to her son. "Please, don't." Izedi placed a hand on Ikenna's shoulder. "If you go," he said quietly, "you may not return." Ikenna looked at his parents, the people who had given him a life of quiet dignity. Then he looked outside. At a town tearing itself apart, "I cannot watch this happen," he said. Ikenna did not agree immediately. He made one demand. "I will not rule as they ruled," he said. "I will not kill to stay alive. I will not pretend the past did not happen." The elders exchanged looks. One asked, "And if the crown kills you?" Ikenna answered, "Then let it be known that it was not power I sought, but peace." That night, the town heard the announcement. By morning, Ikenna would face the crown. Some prayed. Some sharpened weapons. Some prepared for another death. And somewhere in the palace, the crown waited for the first man who did not want it. The night before the crowning, Aruokpe did not sleep. Smoke still clung to the air. Burned homes stood silent. Grief had replaced anger, but fear remained. In his family's home, Ikenna sat quietly. His mother begged him not to go. His father said little, knowing words would not change fate. Outside, the palace waited. Inside it, the crown lay still, unchanged and unrepentant. Before dawn, Ikenna walked alone to the palace. No guard stopped him. In the old records chamber, he uncovered the truth buried for years. The truth behind the curse: King Okoro had been murdered, the crown stolen, and the lie accepted because the town feared instability more than justice. Every king after had ruled on that lie. And lies, once crowned, always demand blood. When morning came, the square filled without celebration. No drums. No songs. Only waiting. Ikenna lifted the crown. The town leaned back and he placed it on his head. Nothing happened. No death. No scream. No collapse. Only silence, and a man still breathing. I did not choose this crown, Ikenna said at last. It was placed on me. And I will not wear it selfishly. His words stunned the people. By nightfall, Ikenna still lived. The crown did not claim him. And for the first time, Aruokpe town understood the crown doesn't kill kings. Kings kill themselves with selfishness. Days passed. Then weeks. Ikenna ruled openly. He listened to his people, admitted his mistakes and judged disputes justly. Violence tried to rise again, but failed. The influentials who thrived on chaos plotted once more. But their secrets surfaced. Not through spies, but through voices no longer afraid. They were stripped of their influence. Some fled. Some stayed unchanged. None were executed. That mercy frightened others more than death ever had. Years passed. Storms came. Floods followed. The town endured. Markets returned. Children stopped flinching at raised voices. The crown remained, but it no longer ruled over kings. Ikenna grew old. Not worshipped. Not feared. Simply present. When he stepped down, the crown passed without blood. When he died, it was quietly. No omen. No violence. Later, children asked why the crown once killed kings. The elders answered, because truth was buried. And power stood on it. Till now, the crown still sits in Aruokpe. Just metal. Just memory. And the town finally understands, power does not destroy those who hold it. Lies do.